Heavy Heavy is kind of like rooted in your history with depression.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you get out of that funk?
Of that depression.
If you're out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it comes and goes. You know, I think as a person who, you know, depression is a pretty regular part of my life. It's kind of like, you don't know when the episode's going to happen. You know, nothing can be wrong. I mean, it's funny. I got really depressed actually this past week, and like nothing but good stuff has been happening. It's been like an amazing week. Honeysuckle just came out, and the response to that has been really great. But like my depression is just like, what up, bitch? Like, how you doing? You know, like it's just this very like, it's just this like shitty pervasive voice, and
depression
you know,
just comes and gives you cake.
It just comes delivers
Here you go,
you a
sweetheart.
cake, and it's like
chocolate cheesecake.
Here you go, honey.
Speaking of which,
thought
pass
you
the
needed
cake.
another couple hours in bed. Yeah, here you go. This is just gonna be a pass the cake interview with Mia and Peter. How did I get out of that? I mean, to be honest, writing the EP was a huge part of that particular episode. Was really difficult, and it was I wrote all of the songs from this EP that's coming out last summer, pretty much, and it was right before I met all of my current bandmates, and I was back home in Florida and just feeling really down. You know, I think living in Brooklyn and living in probably big cities in general, like your anxiety, you're just kind of forced to not feel things. I feel like I don't really finish thoughts when I'm here because it's always like you have to be so alert, and I'm always like going to work, going home, going to do something at home, going to like doing this, doing that, going to a show, going to practice. You know, it's like I feel like I never have time to just like sit with myself and think. So I feel like usually I write best when I'm, you know, away or when I don't have any obligations or any responsibilities. And that episode was like a particularly bad one. And like writing those songs was really what helped me, and kind of forcing myself to like put a narrative to it and put words to it. And, you know, when I wrote Heavy Heavy, I actually didn't like the lyrics, and I sent them to my best friend, and I was like, I think these are too simple. Like, I was just like, it's a little on the nose, you know, does it feel too literal? Because I tend to be very heady when I'm writing. And she was just like, no, it's honest, and, you know, it's like, it really is that easy. Like, depression it says the same things to me over and over and over again, and it's just kind of like I have a friend named Rachel who's in a project called Mima Good, who is heavily therapized, and I love her for it. And she taught me this kind of coping mechanism of like talking to your depression and talking to your like anxiety and talking to, you know, these feelings like they're children, because it's kind of like they are. They're these like scared voices that you've held onto for a long time, and they're telling you like, you know, nothing's ever gonna like, you know, you the person, like Mia the person is like, I don't feel so good, and maybe things are a little tough right now. And then the scared child is like, what if things are tough forever? Like, what if nothing's ever gonna be okay? You know what I mean? And it's just talking to that voice. And she always starts it with like you know, hi, she calls them her basics. She's like, basics, I need your full attention and your loving cooperation. And just to literally talk to it and be like, you know, you're scared, but I need you to, you know, chill for a minute while I'm like doing this podcast, or like, you know, I just want to hang out with my friends for a little while. You know, you've been doing great. Like, keep up the good work. Like, it's like a very weird little thing, but it's like there's just, you know, it's an illness, and it's like you just have to kind of teach yourself things to stop it from becoming the greater voice. You know.
So, are you diagnosed with anything?
I mean, I don't really feel comfortable talking about that like on air.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, it's just stuff. It's stuff I deal with. You know, I tend to go into very bad depressive episodes, and I have pretty bad anxiety. But yeah, I mean, I'm not on like medication or anything at the moment. You know, I'm something that I'm thinking about. It's like, it's hard because these conversations are things that I obviously want to be open about, but it's also like it's a balance of just like being really open in my music and saying what I need to say in my music, and then in my life like saying what I can and what makes me feel comfortable. You know?
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. I watched an incredible documentary from Showtime. Showtime Sports produced it. This play-by-play announcer, very, very successful and very talented one, Mauro Ranallo. And he's diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And just to see what he goes through, and it kind of shows like the trajectory of his career. He got more successful calling all these big-time boxing matches, and working for WWE, but still going through a lot of these episodes. And it's kind of like inspiring to see that, because I'm sure there's another bipolar kid out there that wants to achieve something, but probably sees that he can or he or she can't because of their disease, I guess you want to call it a disease. And I think it's very inspiring. Yeah,
no, totally.
It's very interesting.
It's kind of like that, you know, you can't be what you can't see. You know, mentality it's sometimes hard. Like, who was it recently? I think it was like Billie Eilish was talking about having, I think it was Asperger's or Tourette's, or I don't want to like misquote her illness, but yeah, I mean, I think it's super important to like talk about those things openly. I think it really does affect people. And cake. I think it's important because like you probably get this as like a person of color. It's like you grow up never seeing like brown people in cartoons or brown people in this or brown, it's like you're kind of like, oh, that's not a lifestyle that exists, like, and it's not even that you actively are like, oh, so that doesn't exist in the world, but it's a passive thing. It just like kind of it gets into your brain and you're just like, I've never seen a lifestyle like mine, so mine must be wrong, it's like, and it's not that those stories don't exist. It's just like, we're telling one story and there's, 40 fucking thousand stories,
Yeah, absolutely. The EP is Ow.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. And
like the exclamation of pain.
Yeah. Both, it's kind of has a literal and figurative meaning because you go through stuff. It's kind of it's pain, but it's not physical pain. It's emotional pain.
Well, I think it's when I was thinking about it and when I was, I don't remember exactly how I ended up choosing a name, but yeah, I think I kind of write when I'm have to teach myself something emotionally or whatever it is, and I think what I was learning is like to kind of validate my own pain and like say to myself, like if I had a broken leg and I was like, I can't come into work, I have a broken leg, everyone would respect that. You know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, of course you can't come into work, you have a broken leg. But it's like if I'm telling my friend like, I can't come out tonight, like I'm having really bad anxiety, like I convince myself like, no, you're just being an asshole, like you should go see your friend. And it's like, of course I should go see my friend, but it's like you only have so much capacity, and it's kind of like, if going and seeing your friend is the thing that's going to help, do it. But if it's not, you know what I mean? The same way you wouldn't tell your friend with a broken leg, like, oh, you should just go see your friend. Like, maybe your friend can come to you. Or, like, finding different compromises and, in learning how to, like, externalize your internal pain, Like, things that are as simple as being, like, if I can't text my friends back, I promise I'm okay. Like, I sound like really, this is just something I have to think about a lot. Because it's a lifestyle, and it's, it's like a lifestyle. No, it's just something that, as you live with, you have to learn. We all have to learn how to cope as we grow up, and like even just texting my friends, being like, "Hey, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just really really stressed right now. We're a little overwhelmed."
I like getting those messages from people.
Right. Well, it makes you feel better. Like people aren't ignoring you, because I know it's like if my friend who who I love like isn't like there's some friends that it's like if they're not texting me back, like I know why, but there are others where I'm like if they're not talking to me for 2 weeks, which is sometimes I go like I have like 58 unread text messages. It drives my girlfriend crazy. She's like, can't you just answer the text? And I'm like, no, because I want to like read them and give them the attention they deserve. And if I open them,
like,
then
bitch,
I won't
where
remember.
you at?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, just letting people know, like, this is where I'm at right now, and if they don't respect that or if they don't understand it, it's kind of like, all you can do is try to educate people, or, maybe they're just like, it's not the right time for you guys to be friends,
Yeah.
Like, you gotta protect yourself and you gotta protect others. Yeah.